Good evening. I am Marietu Sidibe and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main local news headlines. The NPP Grand Coalition's candidate, the incumbent President Adama Barrow, today Friday arrived in the Lower River region to a rousing welcome as he continued his election campaign tour. The First Lady Fatoumata Barrow on Friday presided over the launching of the National Polio Vaccination Campaign at the buffer zone in Talending. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and partners on Thursday organized an outreach forum to present the October 2021 Regional Economic Outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa. The Gambia Armed Forces on Thursday held a VIP day to demonstrate some vital skills they learned during training conducted by the British Army. In sports news, after years of struggle to get to this point, 10 teams have emerged from which the continent's final 5 will go on to appear at next year's World Cup in Qatar. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. The NPP Grand Coalition's candidate, the incumbent President Adama Barrow, today Friday arrived in the Lower River region to a rousing welcome as he continued his election campaign tour in rural Gambia. Aliou Cisse is traveling with the President and he now reports.
People of the Lower River region gathered at the Pakaleba Bridge, which separates the region and Central River region, to receive the President from the people of CRR and escort him to Jara Sotukung in Jara East for Juma prayer and for the first meeting in the region. There were 2 other meetings in Jara Japine and Jara Soma. On Thursday, the President wrapped up his engagement in the Central River region south with 3 meetings in Jisadi, Kerkating and Batinjol, all in the Nyamina region. At the meetings, several speakers, including Samba Jallo, National Assembly member for Nyamina Dangongo constituency, praised what they call the good work by the President across all sectors. Nonetheless, they informed the President about the bad state of the road networks in Nyamina, particularly the road linking the Choya village on the main highway to Dankonko. Addressing the meetings, President Barrow said the rousing welcome accorded him is an indication that the people of Nyamina are with him, as he encouraged them to remain steadfast behind his agenda. On the concerns raised, he shared with them his plan to construct 1,200 kilometers of roads, among which he promised will be the Nyamina road.
Min tigi mi sikkuno mi gollangol laawol ɗo he wote yonde kono Allah ñaawani ɗum ɗon neɗɗo noon a wawata yawtude ko Allah ñaawani kono ngol laawol ngol ɓetanoma ngol ɗi programme amen he wonno mi wiya on ngol laawol mami gollugol ɗo laawol.
At the meetings, people claiming to be supporters of the GDC also switched allegiance to the NPP and vowed to vote massively for the NPP as they did at the last Nyamina West by-election, which showed NPP defeat the UDP-backed GDC party. Just as at the previous meetings, the President also shares with the people of Nyamina his government's plan to pay Alcalo salaries starting at the end of January 2022, the National Health Insurance to address the health needs of the people, and a $50 million project to be invested in the fishing sector to help create jobs for the youth. The Nyamina region is known for rice production. President Barrow said his intention is to put an end to rice importation by 2026, as his government has secured a $80 million project to improve rice production. The NPP-led Grand Coalition will wrap up its first leg of the tour with 3 meetings in the Kiang region on Saturday. The President returns to Banjul on Sunday. Sidinjai, the NPP deputy spokesman, reveals plans for a huge welcome ceremony for their candidate after what he described as a successful first leg tour in rural Gambia.
The elections have already been decided by a Gambian that over 80% of those residents will vote for President Adama massively. The people of KM and West Coast are mobilizing massively to get the 200,000 in Burman Bridge, that's Kalaji, and the motorcade will drive through, and they will escort his motorcade towards the combos in Brikama, where we are expecting over 100,000 as well, and then we go to Abuko, where we'll have nothing less than 200,000 who will walk with President Barrows to Banjul.
The second leg of the campaign tour will resume next Monday, starting in Fonyi, West Coast region. Reporting for QTV News from Jara Soma in the Lower River region, I am Aliou Cisse.
The First Lady, Fatoumata Barrows, on Friday presided over the launching of the national polio vaccination campaign at the buffer zone in Talending. As Ajibintu Drame reports, she and other speakers encouraged families to get their children vaccinated.
The campaign comes following the discovery of the polio virus in the country in August. The type 2 polio virus was discovered in environmental sewage samples from Banjul sewers and Kotu by the Ministry of Health. This prompted the declaration of a public health emergency and plans to vaccinate all children under 5. The Gambia was declared polio-free in 2004, according to the Ministry of Health. In 2020, the WHO announced that the wild polio virus had been eradicated from Africa after 4 consecutive years without reported cases. Fatoumata Barrows, the First Lady of the Gambia, thanked partners for their immense commitment in protecting the vulnerable children.
Polio vaccination campaigns have been successful, and I believe that this one will equally do well and even better in this particular campaign. I therefore encourage all parents and caregivers that their children are vaccinated to enable us to put a stop to the circulation of the virus among the population.
At the event, Dr. Desta Turune, delivering a joint statement from WHO, UNICEF and development partners, says WHO has secured $16,100,000, while UNICEF provided $13,800,000 for the campaign. He added that 1,666 personnel will be deployed throughout the country as vaccinators, supervisors and monitors.
Wild poliovirus, which was responsible for crippling and killing our children, has been eliminated and eradicated in most part of the world, except one country, which is now Afghanistan. Our focus now is to halt the transmission of the current outbreak, which is the current transmission of the virus in the population.
Mustafa Bite, representing the Minister of Health, says the first round of the vaccination will last 4 days, from November 20th to the 23rd.
Who fail to receive this new type of polio vaccine is at high risk of getting the disease. Currently, 27 countries in our sub-region are experiencing outbreak of the disease in the human population, and many children are being paralyzed. We do not want this to happen to any child in this country. The country is targeting to vaccinate 382,908 children in this group.
Bigeso spoke on behalf of the mothers. Vaccine is important for our children's well-being. I urge mothers to take their children to be vaccinated. Not taking the vaccine and contracting the virus might kill one's child or lead to paralysis. The vaccinators will be going round, so get your children vaccinated. I call on all mothers to participate and ensure that your child is registered if they are vaccinated to prevent them from being vaccinated again. Other speakers unanimously urge parents to ensure that their children are vaccinated to successfully eradicate the disease. The event was attended by dignitaries from international organizations, mothers and their children. Local cultural groups were also present and sang messages encouraging families to participate in the vaccination campaign. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and the Central Bank of the Gambia, on Thursday organized an outreach forum to present the October 2021 Regional Economic Outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa. Omar Pijalo reports.
The Regional Economic Outlook is a flagship publication of the IMF's Africa Development Stand, which provides a cross-country analysis of the economic developments within Sub-Saharan Africa. The report discusses economic outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa, the challenges confronting the region's policymakers in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, and provides policy recommendations. In his opening remarks, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Abdoulaye Diallo, said the IMF has always been one of the Gambia's keenest development partners, adding that recently the IMF offers significant support to the country during the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of financial and technical assistance. PS Diallo added that no country is safe from the pandemic until all are safe.
One thing the pandemic has even more evident is how interconnected the world is. And global challenges requires global solutions. So we have one planet. However, the pandemic has divided the world into two. With a projected recovery in global growth, advanced economics are expected to grow by more than 5% in 2022. However, growth for the sub-Saharan Africa is projected at 3.8%, much lower than the rest of the world, further widening income inequalities.
The IMF resident representative in the Gambia, Mamadou Juldebari, revealed that advanced economies are forecasted to return to their pre-pandemic growth path by 2023, while sub-Saharan Africa is not expected to return to pre-pandemic growth levels anytime soon. This, he said, is because of the large disparities in vaccine access and vaccine hesitancy in sub-Saharan Africa, as more than 60% of the population in advanced countries are fully vaccinated, as opposed to the 97% of unvaccinated population in low-income countries.
As long as a large portion of the global population remain unvaccinated, the world will remain at risk of having new and more destructive variants of the virus. And in a real sense, the path of truly future of post-COVID-19 will lie through Africa. Now, on the emerging climate crisis, as home to the world's second largest forest with unmatched renewable energy potential, and with a population that is set to double in the next 2 to 3 decades with significant growth potential, any realistic effort to reduce global emission will need to take into account sub-Saharan Africa.
Sekou Jabi, Deputy Governor 1 at the Central Bank of the Gambia, delivered the closing remarks.
As you know, we have existing challenges prior to COVID, and the COVID came with a lot of other constraints affecting revenue collection, affecting some of the sectors. Some sectors even go dead. Across the world, some businesses even closed down, airlines, whatever. So a lot of things are impacted on it that go down to affect even at the individual level.
Experts believe that the pandemic, coupled with the effects of climate change, has exacerbated the economic divergence among the world's economies. Therefore, to tackle this pandemic, the global community, especially advanced countries, must step up efforts to ensure equitable vaccine access for every country, overcome vaccine hesitancy, and ensure better economic prospects for all. Reporting for KTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we will have more local news stories.
You've got big decisions to make.
For this election, one decision is clear.
Who has the most experience?
Who brings you in-depth coverage?
Who brings you most relevant information?
Now is the time to watch your decision pay off.
Live non-stop coverage. Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube.
Your text messages and election alerts.
Decision 2021 only on QTV.
Comprehensive election coverage.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
Sign Language Interpretation Service is proudly supported by the UNDP Accelerator Lab.
Welcome back. The Gambia Armed Forces on Thursday held a VIP day to demonstrate some vital skills they learned during training conducted by the British Army. The event was held at the GAF training ground in Sifo in the West Coast region. Yahya Jawa reports.
The event was held for the Army chiefs and other dignitaries to witness and have first-hand information on the recently concluded training by the British Army short-term training team. Addressing the soldiers at the training camp, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Yakuba A. Drame, says the training will add value to their knowledge and skills in military operations, especially close protection techniques, and reminded the soldiers of their duties.
Remember, life is a process. Serve with diligence. Serve with ultimate sacrifice. Serve with selfless service. Serve with loyalty. Serve with dedication and integrity. This is what determines what is going to be the subsequent course of action. I want to leave you with those few words. Serve with pride and dignity. Serve with dedication to duty. Serve your country selflessly. Be loyal and have integrity.
CDS Drame also told the soldiers to be hardworking and apply high moral standards and ethical behavior while serving the Gambia Armed Forces. He added that there would no longer be a shortcut for anyone to be successful in the National Army as long as he remains the Army Chief. He also informed them of their mission following their successful training.
You would be going eventually as a quick reaction force. Once again, I want to reiterate, it is not going to be an easy mission if eventually you are deployed. But rather, we should be prepared to take casualties. That is the true meaning of quick reaction force. What does that entail? You could be called upon as and when required to undertake very dangerous missions. And doing dangerous missions is a question of life or death. And I want to share this with you so that psychologically you get yourself prepared.
David Belgrove, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, says the training is also part of efforts to strengthen the good relationship between the Gambia and Britain. The Army, he says, is key to the maintenance of peace and security of any nation.
I think the work that you're doing and the operations that you are practicing for are so important. UN peacekeeping operations are so vital to international security and to protect civilians and stabilize countries. And this is what all this training is about.
Having undergone rigorous training, it is expected that the trainees' technical and tactical knowledge in protecting lives and property will significantly improve the effectiveness and professionalism of the men and women in uniform. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
As part of the program for accelerated community development, President Adama Barrow has donated tractors to 6 communities in the Lower River region. Our regional correspondent, Bakari Balde, reports.
The tractors were handed over to Jara Madina, Buiba Mandinka, Jara Jinoi, Kia Masembe, Madina Kayaf, and Kia Mandina. The presentations were spearheaded by the Department of Strategy and Policy Delivery and the Office of the Regional Governor. The Governor of LRR, Rohi John Manjan, describes President Adam Barrow as development-oriented and a man of peace. She implored people to rally behind the president in the forthcoming presidential election.
Chiefs, alcalos, governors, let's support President Barrow's development agenda. He's the one paying our salaries. That's the progress of this country.
Siaka Jata, who is the presidential political advisor, urged the beneficiaries to massively vote for President Adam Barrow on December 4th to continue the good work he is doing. He stated that the tractors driven are in fulfillment of President Adam Barrow's campaign promises.
To have the means of giving you other things depends on your votes. So, vote for President Barrow. You requested a tractor during the tour. Today, we are delivering a tractor to you by the grace of God.
On behalf of the beneficiary communities, the Chief of Jara West, Yaya Jajusi, and Ansumana Kanaji, the Chief of Jara East, both complimented President Adam Barrow's administration for the support and for the advice their people to take good care of the tractors.
The tractor is here. Use it for the intended purpose, for the benefit of all. Sometimes, when things like this come to the village, only a few people benefit from it. Take good care of it, so that you can use it until you buy another tractor. It now belongs to you.
Other speakers included Alkalolu, youths, and women leaders. According to them, these tractors come at just the right time. They thank the president for the donation and promise him of their full support. Reporting for QTV News, I am Bakari Balde.
In sports news. After years of struggle to get to this point, 10 teams have emerged from which the continent's final 5 will go on to appear at next year's World Cup in Qatar. And as we see from this report, some big names failed to make it through, and there was both last game drama and controversy.
Algeria, the reigning African champions, topped Group A on 14 points, but did not have it all their own way, getting just 2 points more than Burkina Faso, who they beat in the final game. Victory for Burkina Faso would have taken them through. At the end, Algeria won 4 games and drew 2, scoring 25 goals in the process, the highest in all the groups. Group B was also a tight affair, as Tunisia also won the group 2 points ahead of Equatorial Guinea. Had the latter won instead of drawing their final game against Mauritania, they would have finished level on points with Tunisia, who nevertheless would have gone through with a superior goal difference. Group C was yet another of those where the final game pitted the first against the second. A 1-1 draw was enough for an unimpressive Nigeria against Cape Verde, which prevented the embarrassment of the country with Africa's largest population losing to one of the smallest. They edged out the small island nation by 2 points. A win for Cape Verde would have taken them through at Nigeria's expense. For many African football watchers, all eyes on the last day turned to Group D. A 1-0 win for Cameroon saw them edge out the Ivory Coast and top the group 2 points clear of the latter. Group E was a much more straightforward affair, as Mali comfortably won the group 7 points clear of second-place Uganda. Group F was equally untroubled for Egypt, as they finished 7 points clear of the team in second. This case, it was Gabon. And Egypt were undefeated throughout the whole campaign. It was a no-contest in deciding the tightest group. That award belongs to Group G, where Ghana won 1-0 thanks to a controversial penalty against South Africa to finish level on points with the South Africans. The Ghanaians going through having scored 1 goal more than South Africa. Nonetheless, South Africa have since challenged the result and alleged it was fixed, and FIFA are looking into their claims. Senegal claimed the honours in Group H, winning the group 8 points clear of second-place Togo. Group I saw the biggest winning margin of any group, as Morocco ended the campaign 12 points clear of Guinea-Bissau in second place. And finally, Group J, which saw the second closest finish, with DR Congo edging out Benin by a single point. These 10 group winners now go into a draw to decide which 5 teams will represent Africa at next year's World Cup in Qatar. For QTV News, I am Ade Darami.
Before we end, here is a recap of the main headlines. The NPP Grand Coalition's candidate, the incumbent President Adama Barrow, today Friday, arrived in the Lower River region to a rousing welcome as he continued his election campaign tour. The First Lady Fatoumata Bah Barrow on Friday presided over the launching of the National Polio Vaccination Campaign at the buffer zone in Talinding. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and partners, on Thursday organized an outreach forum to present the October 2021 Regional Economic Outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa. The Gambia Armed Forces on Thursday held a VIP day to demonstrate some vital skills they learned during training conducted by the British Army. In sports news, after years of struggle to get to this point, 10 teams have emerged from which the continent's final 5 will go on to appear at next year's World Cup in Qatar. That's all we have for you in this bulletin of QTV News. Thank you for watching and have a nice weekend.